I want to start with the remembrance of your speech in Ukrainian Parliament. It was in April, so you made in this speech 3 promises to Ukrainians. So I want to get back to them. The first one is this invasion of our country puts Russia in direct confrontation with Europe international community. Today's recognition of Russia as a state sponsor in terrorism will involve much deeper European Union into this confrontation. What risks are you ready to accept, and do you see there might be risks?
Well, first of all, we are in politics and we have a duty and responsibility. This Parliament recognized that duty and responsibility ever since the 24th of February when Russian tanks rolled into Ukraine. If you ask me, I think we should have recognized that earlier. That's why we were so quick in order to say that Ukraine should be a candidate country of the European Union. This Parliament is in constant contact with the Ukrainian Parliament in order to help take the next steps, and today we adopted a resolution with the strongest political language.
You were talking about a lot of help in the needed things that Andrei Yermak announced, and we understand how much money you spent on Ukraine right now. But first instrument, it's money, and it will be for a long time. But the second instrument, it do something to stop the war, save the money, and develop our countries. So this instrument, the resolution, it's you see really can bring closer the victory of Ukraine.
Well, what it definitely will do is to go against the mantra, or what we were told over summer, that war fatigue will set in. This was a message that fatigue has not set in, and our citizens continue to insist with us, no matter what, in order for us to help Ukraine win this war. Today, not only did we adopt that resolution, not only did we launch this campaign, which is a tangible campaign with a long list of what the Ukrainians need from us, and we as Europeans have the resources to give what Ukraine needs in order to continue fighting this indiscriminate campaign, as we are seeing every day, bombs every day falling on cities. So our help is on all fronts, and this Parliament is at the core of that, whether it is political, whether it is practical, whether it is military, but whether it is also financial.
This was your third promise that you gave in our Parliament about the help, I understand, till the end of the war to Ukraine. So we can trust your obligations and your promises. But does the same situation with the societies of the European Union, not only politicians, are they ready to suffer? I'm telling like it is to suffer for Ukrainians till the end of this war.
This will be a difficult winter. We are not only fighting a war on our continent, but we have higher than ever before inflation and energy prices. So this is where time for leadership comes. This is where Europe matters. This is where European leaders have to look at each other in the eye and say, are we ready to save Europe? We've been, perhaps not in such a difficult situation, but we've been in challenging situations before. And the only way out of that was through common European solutions. If we have the responsibility to deliver on those common European solutions, then our citizens can be comforted by the fact that we are going to take all the measures possible in order to cushion the social and economic impacts, not only of war on our territory, but of energy prices that are volatile, and an energy mix that for too long was reliant on cheap Russian gas. The decisions we have taken so far.
You did it about independence in energy or the European Union. It's a very tough question for you, I understand, in this decision, but I have to ask you, what's going to be after the war? I mean, I understand that pragmatic must be in the first place in every country, and the cheap gas and cheap oil is the pragmatic question. So what's the connection with the business in energetics with Russia after war? Is it possible? And what can happen with Russia to start again communicating in business with them?
Well, I think that if you compare to the fact that we were almost 90% dependent on Russian gas on the 24th of February, and we are now at less than 9% dependent on Russian gas. How did we do that? We reconnected, we found other ways, we found third country partners that we could rely on, and I hope we could create finally a proper energy union in this in Europe. Europe by also investing heavier in renewables. I can speak about that for now. As to diplomatic...
And the last question, it was the second you promised that you are ready to accept Ukraine in the family of European Union, but understand that there are some stages that we have to pass, some reforms that we have to make, but taking account how fast we were accepted the candidate status, maybe something we can do right now, even during the war, to make this process faster, or maybe there might be some, like we say, black swans that happened.
Look, I think we can match, or we must be able to match, the speed with which Ukraine has gone step after step, and this is where also, as a European Parliament, we're helping the Ukrainian Parliament, the Verkhovna Rada, in this regard. If we don't match the speed, then what are we doing? That would be my first point. Secondly, each country has its own path. Yes, there are many steps to take, but don't underestimate the period between becoming a candidate country and entering the European Union, having access to programs, having access to pre-accession funding. Importantly, and why haven't we done this yet, extending the roaming agreement to Ukraine. That would help so much in terms of economic and consumption. Horizon 2020, research, Erasmus, freedom of movement, freedom of services. These are things that can already be delivered now, and I think the speed with which Ukraine has delivered these milestones, we can match.
From all our hearts, from the hearts of the Ukrainians and from our team, we are very thankful for your help.
I thank you for your bravery.
You're making our stand still for European values too. Thank you.
Absolutely, and we stand still with you. Thanks a lot.